What's going on, everybody? Going Yooper here, and today we're going to start building this incubator. There's a few things that I don't have, and I will update them in the future when I pick them up. I could not find my fan that I was going to stick in there anywhere. But we will get as much done as we can right now, and y'all can join me and watch what I'm doing. First thing I'm going to do is take out all these shelves. And then I'm going to take off that assembly up there. And that's where I'm not sure what I'm going to run into, but I'm going to get rid of it because it's in the way. Now, I'm going to leave this bottom drawer in after I get it done, because this is a perfect drawer to hold a bunch of the little waters. Now, I'm not sure how this worked out for Matt over at Olympus Reptiles. I need to contact him, but he said when he built his that he was going to actually put water in this to kind of help with humidity. So I'm going to have to contact him and see how that worked out for him. So let's get started. Alright, now that I have that stuff out, I'm going to grab my tools and we're going to start taking off this top piece. Alright, so now I'm going to finish removing these bolts, and hopefully it won't give me too much of a hard time. These are very cheap little bolts they stuck in here. And they can strip out real easy, so you got to be careful. And I'm going to just loosen all this stuff because, again, I don't know how they have this all hooked up. Make sure you don't keep it plugged in when you're doing this, by the way. Not that you would want to or you should, but just in case you get a little excited, maybe forget what you're doing, you don't want to get electrocuted. Here's another unknown fact about going Yooper. Definitely afraid of electrocution. I don't like messing with electricity. I see some hidden screws over here I wasn't expecting. I can't tell if it's a boot or a flathead, but we will find out. So that's that piece. That is a drain for any overflow if it defrosts or something like that. It doesn't go right onto your floor or in the bottom of your fridge. Alright. Now, what I got to do is I got to determine where I want to drill my hole to run my wires. And that I'm not too sure what I want to do yet. Ideally, I guess, right there would be the spot. This is a rubber seal part right here, and that will help seal the rubber deal in there. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But before we start drilling holes, I'm going to measure out my flex watt and see how much I actually need. Alright, so I got my 12-inch flex watt that I ordered from Reptile Basics. That's where I get all my flex watt from because it's the real deal. There's a lot of stuff that is imitation flex watt. I can't say if it's good or bad, but I've heard it's not that great. So I'm just going to go by what I've heard. Now I got to figure out where I want to put this. Now I want it to be all the way to the top as possible, right down the middle, and I'm going to have it come right out to almost the end of this on the very bottom. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it up there with a little piece of tape just to hold it so I can get it measured out and I can cut it. I use this metal foil tape for just about everything. I like it. Good stuff. So just taking a little piece, does not have to be pretty. It's just there to hold it up. I'm going to fold it over so it's where I want it to be. I'm going to get it to dead center. And I'm just going to tack it up there like that. Alright. And I'm going to push it against here. I'm going to bring it down across here, all the way up against the wall. Try not to pull it off of there. And then I'm going to mark about where I want it to be. Now this is also where I got to figure out where I'm going to drill my hole. And I think I'm going to go from the side. Yeah, I'm going to go from the side. So I want it to be right there. How far does it go in? I think this is a perfect spot. Let me just make sure you're right here. Alright, so I have it marked where I want to cut it. And make sure when you're cutting the flex watt that you don't cut into the black. The black is it's like a conductive ink. And you don't want to cut into the black part. Just not where you want to cut in. So you want to cut in between in the white. So you can take your scissors. I actually usually use a razor blade, but I don't have a piece of wood to cut it on, so I'm not going to do that. And you want to make sure you stay in the white. Very important. Alright, so it looks like I ordered about 2 foot extra that I didn't need. But I can use that up top if I want to do things like, let me tilt this up. But I can use this up top if I want to do things like leopard gecko eggs, which is a possibility in the future for going Yooper. A couple other things I plan on breeding are, right away, are going to be Amazon tree boas. I'm really stoked about that. And possibly even in the future, I will be able to breed some green tree pythons. I really like Amazon tree boas and green tree pythons. I just think they're awesome. Just awesome snakes to look at. They are very nasty and kind of have an attitude, but I really do like them a lot. Alright, so now that I got this cut out, I can take it off of here, and we can go prep the flex watt to be ready to be wired up. After I get the silver stuff off of here, because I don't want it to look messy. That's the one thing about this silver tape, boy, it sticks. It's no joke. It sticks. Alright, so let's go get this prepped. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to melt the plastic off just a little bit of the edge over here on these 2 metal copper strips. And that way I have a good connection when I go to hook the wires up to it. To do that, I like to use a wood burner. Simple wood burner. It's got a nice little angle on it that allows you to kind of get the perfect little scoop, and I just melt it off right there just enough that I can get the wire connection on. So let's let this thing warm up and we will get going. Okay, I think the iron's hot enough now. So basically what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to try and stay on top of the copper itself and open up some of this plastic. Just heating it up and pushing it off. Just bulldozing it right down. And open up a nice spot that I will be able to get a good connection on. Now it's important that you get all the plastic off of here. You want to have a nice connection. Very, very important. And this wood burner has been used so much, like it's on its last leg. But it will work for this, so no worries. And I will show you as soon as I'm done burning this plastic off of here what we're left with. Nice connection. Okay, there's that side. seep in there. And you don't want to go all the way off the other edge, because I've done that a few times, and what happens is the copper strip there actually comes apart off the plastic on the bottom, and you don't really want that. It's no big deal, you can just retape it if it happens, but since I don't want it to happen, I'm going to make sure that I stay off of there. Okay. So after I do that, I'll take a pocket knife or a razor blade, and I will just scratch the surface real good, just making sure that there's no other pieces of plastic in there. And when this stuff cools, it kind of hardens a little bit. And I'll just scratch that surface so it's nice. Same thing with this side. And this is basically just scraping any plastic that you might have missed with the burner off of there, and we can get solid connection. Alright. Now, with my incubators, and sometimes on my racks as well, I will use little stereo connectors, which I will show you shortly, to connect them instead of soldering. I do have a soldering gun, but I broke the tip off of it, so it is no longer in use, but that's okay because I plan on using stereo connectors anyway. And to do that, I will need to pop a little hole to get the little tiny nut and bolts through. So I like to use a screw, because you can twist it in there and it makes like a perfect hole. So I don't know if you can see that. Here, let me. It makes a nice little perfect hole for it to fit through. And I'll do the same thing on this other side. Yeah, don't use the proper tools for the job either. That's for suckers. I'm kidding. But I didn't have a hammer here with me. I might actually. I'm just trying to get this going, so it's okay. Alright, so now I've got 2 holes, one on each side. Let me go get my connectors. Alright, so I've got these little bolts, little tiny bolts, number 6s. Little nuts, and a couple little washers. And I will show you what I do. Okay, so actually I should have went through the other side with the screw. So keep that in mind. Go through the other side. That way it slides through a little bit easier. Alright, so with the nut and the washer on it, I will stick it through the bottom carefully. And I might have to make the hole a little bit bigger. We will see here in a second. Yeah, I don't want to force anything. So I will put my screw back in there and thread it through a little bit until I have it big enough that this can slide through easily. Now slide through easily. There we go. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll take my little tiny nut, the flathead too. I always grab the flathead. I'll put the washer on it, and this will just keep it nice and tight having the washer on this side. Well, let's make that hole a little bit bigger as well. We'll attempt to pop this one through. Now, I'm sure there's 100 people out there right now going, oh, that isn't how you do it and stuff. Listen, everybody has their own way, and I'm just showing you mine. So, don't take it as an insult or anything else, you know what I mean? Solder does give a better connection. I will tell you that right now. But if I can maintain temperatures, I will be just fine. So, I'll take these little stereo connectors, like so, and I will stick that right on top of it. And with my little tiny nut, that didn't sound good. This is a clean channel, so forgive me for anything that may sound a little bit funky. Alright, and I'm just going to hand tighten that down because when I go to set it up in there, I want to be able to angle these in a direction that will work best for when I wire it up. So I'll do the same thing to this side. Tack this one on there as well. Again, I don't want to put them too tight. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin these out of the way for a second and put some black tape, electrical tape, over these ends. You do not want exposed ends because the very edges of these copper lines will be hooked up to power and it will be live. So you want to be very careful. So what I do is I will take a piece of tape like so, press it down good, and I'll just fold it over, pressing it down really good. That way we don't have any exposed line that you can shock yourself or hurt yourself with. And like I said before, going Yooper does not like electricity. I'm like definitely afraid of electricity. Yes, none of you are laughing because everybody is afraid of electricity. Don't be brave, people. Okay, so now I'm going to want to drill my hole for the power lines. And I'm actually going to do it on the side of the fridge, and a lot of people go out the back. I get it, I understand, but I am going to go through the side. Okay, well I'm going to apologize for the lighting in advance, but again, we got to work with what we got. Now I want to go right through here. Now you're going to want your hole to be big enough that it can fit your probe as well as a thermostat, because this will be closed and you won't be able to see what the temperature inside. So I like to add an extra little temperature thermometer deal going through there. So I will use this little guy as a dummy to see if the hole is big enough and if it works. And I might have to wobble it out a little bit, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to come from this other side here and go back in the way it came out. I'm making a big mess. Some. Now I want to do this Alright. Now, you don't have to worry about the hole looks okay or not because it will be covered with tape. Now what really stinks is I do not have a vacuum here, so I want to try and keep this mess to a minimum, something that I can sweep up easily. So, let's just get some of this foam from the insulation of the fridge out of the way. Well, I can see right through there, it looks good. Alright, so now that should be enough room for the power wire and the probe and the thermometer. If not, then you just need to make your hole a little bit bigger. Alright, we got the probe right here to the thermostat. So I will just run it through there to make sure that it's going to work properly, and then I have to find a nice place to put that probe. do want to be careful because the outside of these refrigerators are made of aluminum, and we do not want to cut this probe wire at all. And I want this probe to be around in the middle. So for right now that will work. Let me find my cord. Now, I don't have the cord that I actually need to plug into the thermostat itself. So I have this one right here. This one we're just, sorry, I do have the cord to plug into, but we'll use this as a dummy so I can mock this up and show you. And heck, if it works out fine, then we'll use it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this apart that I'll be able to hook it to both sides. I'll try not to fall over. I'll take my wire strippers here and I will strip enough off of it that it will work well. Love these wire strippers. They work amazingly. So those are definitely good to go. I will twist them up. I think this one's just a little too long, so I'll go ahead and trim that as well. Blammo. Okay, this other one seems to be just fine. So I'm going to lightly twist these together just to stick them through the hole. Probably could have done that first, but oh well. And they came undone. Guess I got to twist them together a little better than I did. Then I'm going to have to go around with some tape and pick up all those little foam pieces. Which kind of stinks. Okay, so that should be far enough to do that. Alright, let me pick up some of this foam and we will start putting some of this flex wad in. Okay, so now we're going to start mounting the flex wad in there where we want it to go. I see a lot of people put it on the sides, I see a lot of people put it in the back and the middle, and that's where I'm going to put it. I want it to go straight down and rest right across the bottom of the floor so that all the water bottles in that bottom shelf will retain heat when they open and close the fridge. I also like to fill up the drawers on the refrigerator full of water bottles as well, and sometimes I even tape them in there to hold even more in there, and that just helps restore the heat when you shut it back up. Okay, and I also want to apologize for the hissing you hear in the background. That is the radiator deal, and it has a little valve that releases when too much pressure is built up, so it kind of simmers out, which is kind of cool because then that creates a little bit more humidity in here. Not much, but a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little 9mm, and I'm going to put it over the nut, and I'm going to crank these down because I got them where I want them, the wire connectors. I want them both at a little bit of an angle. That's too much of an angle. There we go. So you want to get these nice and tight, and you want to find out exactly where you want them to first, and I want them angled just like that. So I got it nice and tight in there. It's got a good connection. We're going to do the same thing with this side. Nice and tight so we get a good connection. Good, good, good. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to get the wires in there. So for that, I'm going to pull this through, and I'm going to separate them, twist them up so they fit inside the connection well. Hope I got this in the view here. Kind of all alone here tonight. Would have been cool if somebody came with me, but everybody was really busy, so I can only do so much. Now I gotta find my crimpers. 1 second. No, I guess guess I left the crimpers at the house, but that's alright, I'll use a pair of pliers. Okay, so get these the way I want them. And I like to bend over the top just a little bit. It just gives a little bit more thickness and a little bit tighter in there when you put it in. And then I cram it down so I see it come out that other side. Perfect. Okay, now you want to be careful. You want to get this flex foot out of your way so that you can give this a good squeeze. And you want to make sure you squeeze it hard enough that this ain't coming out and that it's in there good. We're going to do the same thing on this other side. I'm going to bend this over just a little bit. And I just do that so it has a little bit thicker wire to bite onto when I crimp it. And we'll stick it in here like so. Perfect. We'll get the pliers on it and give it a good squeeze. Check it, make sure it doesn't come out. It's good. Okay. Now, I also like to put some black tape on it. Sorry, let me get back into view. I also like to put some black tape around it. That way we just don't have any exposed wires. Whenever you're doing any of these kind of wiring stuff, you want to make sure you just don't have any exposed wires. You want to double check and triple check even. So I'll cut a piece of this off. And I will wrap it, let me see if I can get it into view, around the connector and the wire itself. And I'll pull it nice and tight. And that way we just don't have any exposed wires. Very, very dangerous to have exposed stuff. So I got that. Now I will put another piece, wrapping it around the nut and bolt part of itself. Right over the top. Now there shouldn't be too much movement up where this is going to be, so it shouldn't be too terrible of a deal, but I always like to put an extra piece. Why not, right? Put it over it, right around the back, over the top of the back bolt, screw, nut, bolt, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm not much of a carpenter or a builder of any sort, and I'm clearly having to say that 4 or 5 times because, you know, people that don't like you have a field day when you mess up a word or something like that. So I just want to be extra careful, you know what I mean? So I'll do the same thing on the other side. Lift it up. Now I'm really sorry, I could not find, I have a nice computer fan that's already actually wired up, and I took it out of the old incubator, and I have no idea where it's at. I actually didn't have a lot of time. I have to get out of here pretty soon, actually. I got some stuff I have to do, so I didn't really have a ton of time to find it. So I will do a part 2 final of this whole build. So, no worries. Alright, now that I got this taped up and I'm secured and I'm happy about it, I'm going to put a piece of tape over these ends where I cut it. Very important. Again, these 2 parts right here are exposed. And you don't want to have any exposed stuff. And, see what I'm saying? Here it is. I was going to say, I already lost the black tape. Yeah, I'm pretty bad. I'm like worse than a child sometimes. So I'll cut a piece off. And I will put it right over this end. Again, don't want any exposed metal, wire, copper end, whatever you're going to call it. Don't want to get shocked. You don't want to start a fire. You want to cook those eggs, but you want to cook them on a low temperature. Low temperature. I'm discussing temperature with eggs. I like to have my eggs in the incubator. I like the temperature to be 89, even 90 degrees. That's where I like to keep it, right there. Some people do it differently too. You know, some people think that when it comes to ball python eggs, if your temperature is at 90 or you have all females, and if it's at 88, 89, you have a mixture of the two. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Alright, so I got a little piece of strip cut off here, and this is just going to tack it in there and hold it in there so that I can get a longer piece going. Because trying to stretch out a longer piece of this silver tape across the top of this is a pain in the butt. So I tack it in first. It's not necessarily much of a trick, but it works well for me. Okay, so let's get this cord back out of here. Oh, no, I guess the tape's going to get stuck up in there. Now I want to get this in the center the best I can, and that looks like it to me. And level, that's the other thing. You want it to be level so it isn't all to kick to the side by the time it gets down there. So let's see, is that good? That looks good. I'll take, oh, I moved it. Alright. Now keep moving it. Alright. That little piece will hold it there so that I can get some nice longer strips going down the sides. Now, again, I'm horrible at this kind of stuff. And I'm sure my tape jobs aren't going to be the prettiest. And I wish they would be, because I want it to look nice and clean. But, you know, I'm old, shaky. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple more pieces. I'm going to cut a couple more tiny pieces just to hold it in place where I want it, so that while I'm working, it's easier to do. Thank God for this fast internet, because I think this video is going to run longer than normal. But then again, to be totally honest with you, I don't think I see too many like full installations of FlexWatt and these incubators. When you see them, usually people just show you them and say, well, this is what I did. And those videos are just fine too. I think I could have easily done that myself, but I figured, yeah, why not? I'll just video it while I do it. Alright, so we got this even. Okay, so those pieces are tacked in good. Now I can measure out a piece from there. To about there. And cut it. This is where it gets interesting. Because I want this to be as neat as possible in here, so it looks like somebody who knew what they were doing built it. But trust me when I tell you that your tape job doesn't necessarily mean anything. You can just tape it in, you just tack it in there and it will work. But I want it to look good. Not that it will, but that's what I want. Alright, so I'm going to pull part of the paper and stuff out of it like that. I'm going to get up here and I'm going to go right on the line. And I'm going to try and follow that line right down. Like that. Wow. It's actually kind of working. Oh no. Okay, so I got it all taped down, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape my probe so it hangs right down here in the middle area, just like that. And that way I can kind of get a good idea what the temperatures are. Cut this a little more actually. Keep losing everything. It's such a big giant piece. So after I take this up a little bit here so it's hanging down where I want it, right in the middle. I will just stick a piece of tape on there like so and let it hang there somewhere in the middle. That'll be good enough for now, and I can always go back and change it. And I will put some tape up here covering this hole that I drilled through. And I will put some tape on the outside of that hole as well. And that will just help keep it all nice and good in there. I will tape the outside at a later date. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it in position and we will hook it up to the thermostat, which is pretty simple. Why don't we do that real quick? Sorry about all the funky movement in the camera. And my room is a mess right now. It's an absolute mess. Alright, so we got the power cord. We don't need instructions. No, you should always read instructions. But since I pretty much know where I'm going with this, I don't have to worry about it too much. So, got a shout out to do. Let me fix this camera a little bit, make it a little bit straighter. There we go. Alright, so, got a little shout out I want to do. Now this is a young kid. He's new to YouTube. Between him and his grandfather, I believe, sorry if I got that wrong, buddy, they have a decent collection of snakes. They really do. And I like this kid. Now he reminds me a lot of me when I was younger. So by saying that, that means he's a little bit, what do you say? He can be a loose wire at times. Nothing against him. I like him. He's a good kid. He means well. But, you know, he's still a young teen. You know what I mean? He's coming into himself. I believe he has a lot to offer the community. And I'm saying these warnings because every now and then he says a bad word here and there. And I've talked to him about it. And he's actually done really well with the language part of the deal. And I want to thank you for that, man. That tells me that, you know, somebody can say something to you and, you know, you can take good advice. And a lot of people would get, you know, angry or mad because somebody said that, but you didn't. You stepped up and you said, you know what, you're right, no problem. And you've done that, and I really, really appreciate it. So go check out Reptile Revolutions. I will put a link below. Show him some support, you know what I mean? He knows some stuff about snakes, so it's not like he doesn't know stuff about snakes, but he can be a little high-strung sometimes. And again, man, I was the same exact way, so I'm not holding that against you. And I told him if he kind of backed off on the language a little bit, I would be more than happy to give him a shout-out to my people, as a lot of families watch my channel. So please go check out Reptile Revolutions. He's a great guy. He's got an Instagram, same name, Reptile_Revolutions. Nice kid, really is. And so go check him out. All right, so we got the power line plugged in here. We've got the cord to the flex watch right here. If you can see this or not. Power cord that's in the flex watt. And plug in the probe, which I believe goes right here on the side. Yep. Awesome. Okay, so we got that. Now, I want to try and go for about 90 degrees. Oh, you know what I didn't do? And that's okay, because we'll just set this in there for now. I didn't put the thermometer through the wall, but again, I can do that later. But we'll set that in there right now. It's 80.4 in this room right now, which is perfect. So we will stick this in here, and we will see what it says in a little bit. Alright, move that. Move my strippers. Boy, I got a big mess to clean up tonight, guys. Alright, so that's closed. I got this set right at 90. I'm going to go ahead and plug her in. And we will see how this works. Alright. Okay, it's ringing. I think it's trying to call me. Alright, I think it's doing its thing. Whew, yeah, a little sweaty in here, but it's really cold out there. So everybody, we will come back here in just a blink of the eye for you, and I'll wait about 20 minutes to 30 minutes and we will come see what it is. Remember, it was at 80.4 the temperature currently. We will check it out in about 20-30 minutes and we will see what happens. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes exactly right now. I have the thermostat set at 90. We will look. Set at 90. So we're going to open it up and check out what the temperature is. And remember, there's no water in there, which I think that helps a lot. It does feel warmer in here. Alright, so we're up at 91.9. Okay, so we're a little hot. So we just back it off a little bit from where it's at. Sorry. Back it off just a hair. And we should be good to go. So there's a little fiddling you got to do with the thermostat to get it just right, but it looks like we're in the money, right? So all is good. So that is my incubation setup for this refrigerator. Again, I will be adding a fan as well, and I will just have to make that a separate video. But for the most part, adding water bottles, adding the fan, and we're good to go. I also like to put a thermometer on each level that I have eggs in, because the temperature will be a little different. You know, heat rises, so it goes up to the top. But the fan should help with that. The fan should help circulate it around. So I do like to run 3 thermometers in there so that I know where they're at. And I will run them through the wall and hang them kind of like I did with the thermostat probe. And I will have them outside so I can actually see what it says for each one of them, and without opening the door. So that is my incubator build. Sorry it was so long, but I don't know, I just wanted to put it out there. I don't, when you see incubator builds, you usually don't see kind of the whole thing. They just kind of show you, okay, we did this and we put this in there, and I felt like, well, let me put one that's a little bit more detailed. And it isn't awesome, it isn't the best incubator in the world, and there's a lot better out there. But with a free refrigerator, I think I paid, it was $3 a foot. I got 6 foot, so you know, for like 30 bucks I got the Flex Watt, and $79 plus shipping from Spider Robotics I got this Herbstat EZ1. You got yourself an incubator. Can't beat it. Alright everybody, I'm going to start cleaning up this mess so that tomorrow I can start fresh. Remember, go check out Reptile Revolutions. His link will be below. And buddy, thank you for all you do and all the support you give my channel as well. I see good things for you in the future. Always stay positive, man. That is the key. Stay positive. People work their butts off all day long, have a hard day at school. The last thing they want to do is come home, pop on one of my videos or your videos or somebody else's videos and listen to them complain about their life. You know what I mean? We all have problems, and this ain't just to him. This is to all of you, you know, that make videos. It's okay to tell your problems. You know, we're friends and we'll be there to help you. But honestly, when I get home at the end of a long day and I pop on YouTube, I don't want to watch somebody complaining about this, that, or the other. Keep it positive, because positive breeds positivity, and that's what this is all about. I want to thank you all for watching my video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Notification bell down below lets you know when I upload a video. Don't forget to go check out all the other links I have below as well. Sam Jeffers Foundation. We love you, buddy. John, thank you so much for letting me be part of that. And even if it's just a small little bit, you know, I feel real strongly about that organization, and I hope we do good things with it in the future. Alright everybody, I love you all. See me, bye.